All right, welcome back, everybody. This week we have a special guest, Caillou. Say hi, Caillou.
Bonjour. He was French, right? I'm not crazy.
No, he was
I
not
don't
French.
think so. No.
He was just like a bratty 4-year-old that didn't have hair for some reason.
Oh,
Must have
okay.
been Caillou Locke.
So
Caillou Locke. No, I always thought it was a French TV show, but maybe I'm not.
I think you're thinking of Madeline. You always had a thing for redheads, so.
Okay. I got no answer for that. I mean, there was Dora. That was
That's Corey's girlfriend.
that's Corey's girlfriend. No, that was Laura. Remember, we changed her name.
That's right.
How you guys
See,
been?
see.
I say that. I literally spent all weekend with Corey. So how you been, Donnie?
we weren't supposed to bring that up.
Why
I've
not?
been all right,
Oh.
all things considered.
Yeah.
Been a rough
I was going to say
weekend
we
of
missed you
racing.
here, but we
Yeah,
saw
well,
how that
next
race
time,
went.
I think-
don't pick Truex and Bell, and maybe I'll show up.
I think it was probably good he wasn't there. I feel like you two might have come to blows. So
No, I
don't-
don't mess with people back in 18th.
I don't know. We got
17th. Come on.
we got the walking Christopher Bell billboard. So I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even say you're a Truex fan. Look at you.
I need my sunglasses. That yellow's so bright.
Just because you're do you turn into a Camaro when you go into your other form, or
Toyota only, bud. Toyota only.
oh, okay.
Or that new Transformer.
the new series is going to take on a new role for you, eh?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well,
If I'm
so
being
I think
honest,
Corey-
I just turned into
How
a
was your week,
Corolla.
Evan? Eat many salads this week, or
I had zero salads. Although
Surprise! I wouldn't have thought.
I did have a pizza in the house that had spinach on it, so there's that.
which
You
you
had
had?
5 pizzas
none
in the
of-
house, bud.
Yeah, there's
people.
four of us, 4 people, and we had to get 5 pizzas.
To be fair,
You know, he
we
said,
were
just in case Donnie shows up. I know he said he's not going to come, but just in case he shows up, I'm going to order another pizza.
well because last
We'll all
time
eat it together,
last
right?
time we planned food with you, there was none here when you got here.
Right?
We literally
you
made
wonder
you
why I
wait to
stayed
show up and
home.
ordered without you.
It was a great idea though,
Oh.
because none of us had to use plates. We just each grabbed a pizza and chowed down.
Well, okay, so hang on. So Domino's has them. If you buy 2 or more, you get them for $8.99. Well, instead of trying to make like everyone pick what they want, everyone just got their own pizza. And then because we couldn't convince Corey to try the crunchy thin crust, we bought a extra crunchy thin crust.
For all you guys who are listening, it's not that great. But
So
Well,
last
Corey-
week we were brought to you by Plexus. This week, Domino's.
Corey was worried that he couldn't handle the crust with his teeth. So I don't know what kind of dental plan Cortec has, but it ain't great.
it's not great.
Corey McCarther.
Corey.
All right, Corey, what do you take us into the racing for?
Oh, do we want to talk about that?
I feel like we
No.
have to. Somebody has to.
All right. Well,
We know NASCAR listens.
just
so
remember
it's
this is
fine.
a family-friendly show, so no cursing and swearing and fighting and punching below the belt or anything.
No, Mary Lee has resigned, remember?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want now.
No, I meant she was the one that was normally to blame.
Oh yeah, my bad. That's what I meant too. You can bleep that word out, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so we were at Richmond. NASCAR made some interesting decisions at the beginning of the
golly.
race, not just at the beginning, but we're starting there. So with the rain storyline dominating the pre-race, NASCAR chose to call a competition caution on lap 30 with non-competitive pit stops and a forced changeover to dry weather tires. So basically it was a merry-go-round. But although red flag in the event, that's a big word to say right now.
Come on, homeschool, you got this.
Momentarily.
They still burned through 16 laps while under the caution. What are your thoughts on this?
You want to take that, Don?
I mean, it was a parade. That was basically it. Like, I don't
Absolutely
understand
ridiculous.
it. Right? Like next time, just keep us red, especially where rain was leaving. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't forecasted like oh, let's see how these tires work because we're going to have wet weather for the next 3 hours.
Mhm.
Like, you literally could have sat there under red for another 30 minutes.
Yep.
And you still don't have pit road dried when it needs to be dried. Like, it was just
Right. Yeah, I like that was actually my biggest beef. So like it already had dominated the storyline as far as like, oh, we're gonna run the wet weather package. Great. I was actually really looking forward to that. We hadn't seen that on oval really at this point. We did see it at the All-Star race. Was it for the Open, I think, or whatever? So like we have technically seen it, but not in an actual race where it mattered. So it could have been great, you know, especially as the track dried out, you know, who got the tires switched at the right time. Could the wet stay out longer as long as they stayed offline and stayed on the wetter parts of the track? So many elements of that could have been extremely entertaining. And especially where they went around on pace laps so long at the beginning, no reason to not have pit road dry. You know that you need to have pit road dry. It's not a performance thing, it's a safety thing, right? You don't want to be sliding cars into people, sandwiching people between vehicles and things like that. I'm all for making sure pit road is dry. But why in the world did we start the race when we had to wait for the vehicles to get off of pit road anyway? Send them back another couple times, finish the stinking job, and then we can do it and give the guys the option. Do you want to run slicks now? Do you think that's going to be beneficial for you? Or do you want to stay on wets? Which I think would have been great. I'm okay with them forcing them to start on the wets because the track was wet and that was a big storyline. But to do a non-competitive pit stop sequence at the top level of our sport, I mean, we haven't seen that outside of the truck series, and I don't remember how long, right? We do see them sometimes in the truck series, particularly at the dirt tracks and things like that. And actually, I guess we did see it the first year that we did Bristol Dirt with the Cup Series, which was a completely different set of environment. I am not a fan of that. We're at the pinnacle of our sport. There's absolutely zero reason why we should ever willingly put ourselves in a position, knowing that pit road isn't dry, where we can't do pit stops safely and competitively. And I think that was the biggest thing that drove me crazy, especially since we sat there burning 16 laps of racing, which is what we tune in for. We don't tune in for caution laps. We don't tune in for, seeing the pace car out there. I like Brett Bodine as much as anybody, but he can stay in the pit as much as I care for that. So I think it was a little bit short-sighted. And I think for a new fan, which is what NASCAR has been chasing, which is what the momentum that we've been seeing is hopefully indicating that we've got some new fans or at least returning fans. I think if you tuned into that race and saw how that race started, especially as a returning fan, right, you would go, man, now I remember why I left. Now I remember why I stopped watching. Or if you're a new fan, this is ludicrous. What in the world? This is not professional. This is not, this is the bunch of rednecks that everyone told me it was. I just think it was such a bad look for the sport, unnecessarily.
Do you have any other thoughts on it?
That was a long thought.
It may have been a long thought, but it was so ridiculous. It was absurd.
It was stupid. And that was that to end the stage at that point? Like
No, it was 30 laps into the first stage.
When did they ended the first stage under caution, right? Or was that?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an actual caution though. Someone got into somebody, wasn't it?
Yeah, Daniel Suarez tried to do the Tokyo Drift and almost did it the whole way around too.
But in my opinion, they could have started that again before the stage break because all he did was spin out. There's nothing on the track. Like they should have been able to run a lap or two and then at least have 3 or 4 laps to go. But
Hendrick car was up front though, so NASCAR just says that 3 points.
I will say I'm not necessarily a big fan of trying to rush that. You're right. There was nothing on the track. They could have done a quickie caution and got back out with probably 2 laps to go, especially since nobody was going to pit in the top 10. But I think for guys 11th on back, you don't want to rob them of the chance to pit and flip that strategy, right? So I don't necessarily know that like there was a great way to do that. I also don't think that you want to have 20 cars going for 10 spots some with fresh tires, some with old tires, especially after you made such a debauchery of the beginning of the race. You really don't want to screw up the end of the first stage. So I can be a little more justified in how they did that at the end of the race. But I still would have liked to have seen that race continue. I think they had to throw the caution there because of Suarez being stopped on the track.
Oh yeah.
But you're right. They probably could have got it going and got us another couple laps. I think the beginning of the race annoyed me to the point where I wasn't concerned with that.
It just kind of surprised me because I seen 7 laps to go. I'm like, okay, they should have, interesting couple of laps, but they just. I was fine with it.
Laps? I thought it was only 5.
No, it was 7 laps to go.
Oh, yeah. No, you're definitely dead on the money. They could have got them out in 7 laps.
Yeah, but
although the last one had been 16, so maybe they were just expecting the same.
Maybe. But speaking of cautions that NASCAR screwed up, here's another one. So NASCAR throws a caution with 60 to go in stage 2 as Kyle Busch gets into the wall but continues going. Was this caution necessary?
I think so, just to make sure like Christopher Bell didn't put that wall there because we didn't want Kyle Busch to retaliate again. But no, it was a garbage caution. Like he never even stopped. Like he might as well just switch lanes and gone up in a groove because he kept it going. Nobody was in danger. And I mean, we had beautiful strategy working out. Like guys running, as you're supposed to at short tracks. Everybody's trying something different. And you're trying to keep this all in your head and like, wow, this might work. This might. And then they just throw a yellow and ruin it all. And you're just like, for what? Like,
and like they had to have been looking to throw a caution because like it was so fast. He like touched the wall and like, right? Oh, caution. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like
I think it's just because he's soft.
Well, and then they went to the booth and they're like, we think it's for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, they didn't even know. Fox had no idea
here for sure. Yeah, of course you're waiting here for sure because you don't want to be like, I think it's for this because it's ludicrous. I think NASCAR has gotten to the point where they will do anything but admit that like they just need tire wear in the cars to make drama instead of constantly manufacturing this garbage, because the best drama we were going to have in that race was the alternating strategies. And what they did when they threw that caution unnecessarily, I'm not to say a natural caution wouldn't have came later where something happened that actually warranted it. And when that happens, that's life. You deal with it. But to throw
that's
this
part
caution,
of the strategy. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where you get caught and you're like, oh, it didn't work. But like for a garbage caution that shouldn't have been thrown.
Right.
Like it benefited my guys, but
well, except Bell.
Like, yeah.
He got back there, if you look at that, right? So let's say that Larson and Bell's strategy worked out or was really close, right? Well, then all of a sudden, when you get to the next stage, you might have more guys jump on that strategy that I think there was only 4 or 5 of them did it. I think it was Bell, Larson, Bowman, Gilliland, and I think there was a 5th, but I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Josh Berry. Because he had a great run yesterday too, and then he got mired back there a bit. Well, if they have a little bit of success with that, do you think someone else isn't going to go, all right, we don't have the speed, but maybe we should try that strategy too? Instead, they throw this caution. Not only do they rob us of seeing how the strategy pans out for stage 2, but we never get the experience to see what it might have looked like in stage 3, which until 5 laps to go was one of the most boring. Well, actually, it was probably the most boring stage we've seen this year, which includes the snore fest that we had in Las Vegas when Kyle Larson dominated from flag to flag. So it instead of just letting the race play out and see what drama can actually happen, NASCAR tried so hard to manufacture it and actually went backwards in the result. Like it was a negative effect, in my opinion.
I agree.
Definitely.
I'm heavy on the thoughts tonight, so forgive me.
I'd say
that's good. You've thought of this a lot.
Well, it was a slow day at work, so had time with my thoughts.
That's a scary thought. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers to Evan's workplace and employees.
They're fine. Just don't look for them in the closets.
So in contrast, the rest of the season this far, Ryan Blaney had an an extremely difficult Richmond race, while his Ford counterparts seemed to have stepped up their pace rather dramatically. While one-off races can happen, was this a turning point for the Ford group, or was this just because Donnie picked a Ford and he's lucky?
I mean, I'm not lucky. I'm good. And yeah, it's because I picked Joey. But, and I
So-
even mentioned Josh Berry as a dark horse pick for one of you guys, and you still didn't jump at it. So yeah, I'd say Ford, doing goods on me.
It's on you.
I mean,
okay.
I'm taking the credit for Toyota this year doing all right. So,
Well,
take Ford.
after you said they were doing garbage.
First season right around. Yeah.
I will say, actually, I was impressed with SHR. They had a little bit more speed yesterday than they have had. Josh Berry, obviously, being the highlight of that. But even Priest was up near the top 10 a few times. Gregson was in the top 10 a couple times.
Yeah, when everyone else pitted.
No, I don't remember about Briscoe, though. I don't remember if he was up there or not. But it was really good. RFK, I think, both finished in the top 10. It was a really good day for Ford overall. And Logano was close to getting that win, man. I'll be honest with you. I think he probably had Denny if we had another 10 or 15 laps.
Yeah, or if he would have jumped the restart too, like
yeah, like what are you doing? Normally he's like the fact that he was 2 car lengths, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
A little bit.
I'll come back to
We'll come
this
back to
thought, but
yeah.
but yeah, I don't necessarily think Ford's going to set the world on fire, but maybe the short track package is what's going to be good for them, which is fine. You got to start with something.
Yeah. I mean, it's momentum. That's what they need.
Right.
Joey needed a decent race. He got that. So now I think the 22 teams, the type of team that's going to build on that. But I mean, they could also be,
so the 22 team can build something, but
yeah.
Okay.
2 championships and
well, Joey did say that they were.
Sorry, I forgot. 48's building something too, I guess.
Yeah, they are. They were a top 5 car
career path after Andrew lets him go.
He's got at least another 2 years on his contract, so we're fine.
But I think Joey said something about they were doing a tire test. I forget where it was at, but they said last week, and then he said they found something, or was I dreaming that last night?
Probably.
I thought they said that in the pre-race. I'm pretty sure they said in the pre-race, but
that sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Korey. I think
probably. It's very much possible.
No, I do feel like that was accurate, but I don't know if I wasn't paying quite enough attention to help you out here or not, but my recollection seems to be letting me down.
Well, you're just focused on one thing, and I think this is the part you're focused on. So, a late race caution. Here we go. Sets up a green and white checker after a dominating performance throughout the earlier part of the race. Hamlin gets off a pit road first and earns the win, with Truex being relegated to 4th across the line. Truex responds by having multiple contacts with both Larson and his own teammate, Denny Hamlin, following the checkered flag. Truex claims in his post-race interview that Hamlin jumped the restart. What do you guys think?
What's that?
You should.
Oh, sorry. I got to go, guys.
No, let's go with Donnie.
Yeah, you should take
All
that,
right.
Donnie, because I got thoughts.
Yeah. So did Denny jump the restart? Hard to say. We didn't see a restart because
Right?
drops
That was
the ball
another
once
screw
again.
up.
Like, oh my goodness. But by replay, like, absolutely, like, you can tell he's going. Like,
100%.
there's no doubt about it. And like, you know what? It's a Joe Gibbs guy winning. Like, I'm all for it. Like, I like Denny, but like, you got to be consistent. And it's this constant. And I'd be saying the same thing if it was Truex. I'd be a lot more happy, and I'd still be like, it is what it is. But like, be consistent and call this stuff. Like, you have a rule book, follow it, because this picking and choosing, like, you're going to hear people arguing, Denny's the face of the new show and now he's getting Chase Elliott treatment kind of thing. And it's going to be hard to argue otherwise. And so, yeah, I think he jumped it. Truex, he got boxed in by Larson on pit road. Like, he's probably angry about that. I think Larson has more to do with being the car that's close by after
I think so, yeah.
getting used up. And I mean, that's what Larson even thinks. And like, you listen to Larson and he's not wrong. Martin's probably the most respected driver in the garage. he's one of the cleaner guys, and it's honestly, it's kind of what I hate about Martin sometimes, because you got a guy like Kyle Larson, you got a guy like Joey Logano, and you got a guy like Denny Hamlin who will wreck their grandmother to win a race. And there comes a time where you can't be the gentleman and the guy that everyone looks up to in the garage. You got to put your bumper on somebody, and wait until you drop down to fourth place to do it isn't the time to do it. Like, I think he should have wrecked Denny, and yeah, but it is
like,
what it is.
On Denny's part too, like Denny knew he jumped that restart. You can't tell me that was an accident. Like he was like,
100%.
all right, I've got to win. I'm in the playoffs. I'm going to jump this, and I'm going to put in NASCAR to make this call. And if they don't, well, good for me. I got the win. If they do, well, oh well, I'm still in the playoffs. Like
Exactly. And I mean, he used Martin up on purpose. Like, he did everything he had to do, and NASCAR didn't call him on it. So good on Denny.
Yeah.
But like, man, I hate it for Martin. Like, this is the one week where I honestly wanted to take the L so bad. Like, I would have gave Evan 2 points happily, but
I would have taken them.
Yeah, I bet so.
So this is one of those few moments where we all agree very vividly that something happened. Denny was 2 car lengths ahead of Joey Logano at the line, and Joey Logano was one of the most aggressive restarters in the sport. When people talk about, oh, you go to Las Vegas, they're 4 or 5 wide. Joey Logano is 4 or 5 wide. Like, he's the guy. When you talk about going to Phoenix and they're down on the apron against the inside wall, he's the guy. He was 2 car lengths behind before the start finish line. And he was directly behind Denny. Truex was barely at his quarter panel. And so I don't think Truex had the opportunity to wreck him, even if he wanted to. And I think he drove into that corner so hard trying to get ahead of him, and then Denny used him up a little bit anyway, that he had no momentum going into what?
A little bit.
Okay. No, I know.
Denny used him up.
Yeah. Quite a bit. He could have lifted though. That's Denny's famous word. I think it ruined his momentum completely down the backstretch, and that's what allowed Logano to get inside, and then eventually Larson. So, now NASCAR's in a position where if we call this race back and take it away from Denny, well, we also take it from Toyota because Truex didn't run second, right? So I think NASCAR was kind of put in a box where they didn't want to be, and they made the wrong call, I think, to save face potentially save face was the sponsor. I don't want to say for sure that's what happened, because you don't ever want to really think that your sport's not credible, but that I think is what happened.
And you're saying this because it was the Toyota Owners 400, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the main sponsor of the race always wants to win their race, right? Same as if you go to Michigan, Ford and Chevrolet want to win that race because it's their hometown.
And it's Martin Truex's home track, probably.
Well, what track is it? So I think he did what he had to do. I don't think he had a chance to get back to Denny to wreck him, even if he wanted to. So yeah. I get why he is so upset, especially since none of it was his fault, right? The caution wasn't his fault.
And it's a teammate who's won a race already.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I get we're all, you're all racing to win and stuff like that. But I mean, Denny, like, it's the reason he's as successful as he is, but it's also the reason he's never going to drive with a friend in Phoenix. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, and you got to kind of outweigh that. Like, there's not going to be guys that are looking to hold Truex up in traffic as much as someone looking to ruin Denny's day. And that's just, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did have a bit of an issue with the contact with Larson, just because I think it was misguided. The contact he had with Hamlin, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I think Hamlin essentially cheated him out of a win, or at least the opportunity to fight for it. And truthfully, I think Denny did that because he knew he wasn't going to get the win. Truex had that field under wraps all day once he got by Kyle Larson.
Yep.
And that's the reality.
I mean, I don't know this either. None of us do. But, like, there's things you can look at. Like, is he mad because he had this race won and Larson brings out the yellow? So is he just fuming about that, like, in the moment? Is he mad? Like, these race car drivers don't forget an awful lot. Larson boxed him in on pit road. Like, is he still holding on to that? Or is it legit just, his temper got the best of him and he got mad? Like, I don't know.
And he sees the smallest guy in the track right next to him. So it's like, well, he's not going to punch me, so I'll just take my anger out on him.
Honestly, I don't think there's a guy on the track really that, I wouldn't take Truex against, but.
Well, I will say this. This is one of those rare opportunities where we have a chance to have a fourth opinion. So this message came in on our podcast website earlier at anchor.fm/before the green. So I'm going to play it. And the person it's directed at can respond if they would like to. So here we go.
Donnie, buddy, old boy, it's Steve here. Maybe you thought I wasn't listening anymore, but you called out Kyle Busch last week. Christopher Bell is a KBM alumni, so that deems a little bit of respect on Christopher's part. He didn't give that to Kyle, so moving forward, I don't think Kyle will give it to him. Anyhow, you also called my boy soft. Kyle Busch is far from soft. Did you see Martin Truex Saturday night or Sunday night at Richmond? He was crying because Denny ran him down into turn 1. Buddy, that's racing. You can't call Kyle Busch soft unless Martin Truex is going soft too. Cheers.
It's funny. I don't remember we mentioned much of Kyle Busch about this race except bringing out a yellow. I mean, are you really going to sit here and say Christopher Bell raced him wrong? Like, what's Kyle Busch going to do? Go a lap down so he can try and wreck Bell with the rest of the leaders? Like, sorry, Steve, we're not really too worried about Busch at the moment. And I stand by what he said. He's got that Chevy entitlement. He's gone soft, and he's not the racer he used to be.
I will say this. If he was still with Toyota, Donnie would be like, yeah, man, he's just passionate.
If he was still with Toyota, he wouldn't be doing this because he doesn't have that entitlement.
Okay. I will say,
I want to say this. Christopher Bell also won a championship in that truck, so you're welcome, Kyle.
You're welcome, Kyle. You mean you're welcome, Christopher Bell, for the opportunity?
Oh, please.
Oh, man.
Christopher Bell put Kyle Busch on the map. Nobody knew who Kyle Busch was until
The disgusting part is I'm not convinced that you don't somewhat believe that. It breaks my heart, but I'm not convinced that you don't internally go, I think I'm right on that.
Yeah.
Because I will say humility is not your strong suit.
Oh, please. I'm the most humble guy I know.
Really?
I'll be honest. It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am.
Well, you are shining like a peacock here right now with all that yellow.
Where have you ever seen a yellow peacock?
I'm just saying you're Brayton.
You see about as good as Steve does. Steve doesn't even know if we're racing on Saturday or Sunday, and he wants to talk about. I've never even met this guy.
Shout out to Steve. I actually got to meet him today. He's a great fella.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Steve's a good guy. Yeah.
Well, 2 out of 3 agrees. So there you go.
Yeah. Actually, the 2 top quality of the group actually agree. The non-Toyota fans agree.
Yeah.
Which means
I'd go
we
with
know
the guy
both.
who knows how to pick. So
well, fair enough. What do you guys say we get into our caution segment with our special guest Brayton Laster?
as long as it's not Steve, I'm good.
All right, welcome back to our first ever guest, who now has the honor of also being our first ever returning guest, Mr. Brayton Laster.
Hi, I'm Brayton. I drive race cars. I have been sober from pizza for the past 7 days. I like pizza, if you couldn't tell. We're doing great, though. We're doing great.
To be fair, I don't know if that's really believable considering you got some pizza on your shirt.
Look, man, I have a pizza stapler, all right? Like, I'm just
That's awesome.
like, we're just going with it.
Have you
We're
ever
just
ordered
rolling
5
with the flow here.
You're heavily invested in this persona, eh?
Oh well, it outdates my racing career almost.
Okay.
So like it's not like I'm gonna be a NASCAR driver I go pizza. They call me the pizza man. No, I've been like you can like ask people I went to like a middle school with, and they'll tell you like I had the pizza personality like long before I ever made it to like this national like NASCAR stuff. So
That's awesome.
Nothing wrong with that.
no, not at all.
Well, listen. Since we last spoke, you've done some ARCA races again, obviously, including a race at your hometown track at the IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park. I guess for those who don't know, everyone obviously wants the opportunity. Everyone obviously wants the opportunity to showcase their talents and abilities in front of their friends and family. So tell us a bit about that weekend. That obviously had to be quite an experience.
No, that was super cool, and not to correct you, but the name does change about once every year and a half. It is currently going by the Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park in Brownsburg. We're gonna call it IRP though, because everyone knows it as IRP. Like
Right.
everyone calls it IRP. No, that was really cool, and I think that happened like right after I talked to you guys last time, because we talked last August, I
Yes,
believe.
I believe it was. Yeah, it was right
and
It was the
after.
Chicago week.
and yeah, sure, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that race. And I forgot what I was doing. I meant to watch it, but anyway. So no, that was super cool because I always wanted to race at IRP, just in general. And being it's like a NASCAR track, and they do a lot of like street stock and late model stuff there. And I just never really had the opportunity to run because I mainly I did some street stock stuff when I was pretty young, and then I went straight to like dirt late models and like outlaw figure eight late models, which I know we talked about a little bit last time, doing the figure eight stuff and really like drive through each other basically. And it was always kind of a dream, like, hey, I want to race here, 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 and I never thought I'd be racing there on like a national level. And I originally was supposed to. I know we did. I believe we talked about this a little bit last year or last episode. I was supposed to make my truck debut, not my truck debut. I made my truck debut in 2022 at Knoxville, but I was
Right.
supposed to make my asphalt truck debut later that year, so in the playoff opener for trucks in 2022, and I wasn't approved. Um, and that was a real bummer because that would have been NASCAR trucks, man, hometown crowd, hometown kid. It would have been really awesome, and we last second didn't get approval, and that one really bummed us out. And then going into last year, then we ran the ARCA stuff in 2022. We ran Daytona in 2023, and we was kind of after Daytona, we were just kind of like floating around space. We didn't really have like a commitment anywhere. We didn't really have any teams. The team I was with, they kind of went our separate ways. Kind of a mutual deal and part of racing. And so I didn't really have a home, and we ended up doing a handful of races for Fast Track Racing or Andy Helmberg. Andy Helmberg, also Indiana, a Hoosier himself. He's run the Indy 500, but he's been in NASCAR for years and owned multiple ARCA teams. And basically, he has 3 or 4, maybe even 5 cars, depending on the weekend, uh, at the track for owners' points. And that's his big thing is he chases owners' points. And uh, there were multiple times throughout the season where he just needs someone to come bring home the car in one piece. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have the car here. I don't have a driver. I just need someone to bring it home in one piece. Like, excuse me, like throw tires on, put fuel, whatever. Pay for what you fix or pay for what you break. Excuse me." And I've never really wrecked or torn up anything on any of his equipment or in general, really, except my Talladega wreck. But so
To
most
be
of those
fair,
deals are like,
Talladega is almost a guarantee, right?
of course, 100%, yeah. And then Daytona last year, I did cave the nose in a little bit, but yeah, that's a long story. So most of these
Yeah.
deals, like I said, most like NASCAR drivers have like most guys know what they're doing, through 2024, through 2025, and some of them, like some of the young up and coming guys with like a ton of money, like they have plans for like 2026, 2027. Like these guys have like a 5-year plan already set out.
Right.
Most of these deals, I'd get the race would be on Friday or Saturday, and Andy Hillenberg would call me Monday. I'd have 5 6
Wow.
days. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. It was either Nashville or it was some race last year I was doing for Andy. I found out I was racing because I get, being part of ARCA, I get an email saying, hey, here's like all the information, technical stuff. Here's like a pit entry list or a pit stall list and entry list and all that. And I'm looking at the entry list and I see my name on the entry list. I'm like, oh, cool. I guess I'm racing this weekend. And Andy had called me like an hour after. He's like, hey, Brayton, you free this weekend? I'm like, I can be. And so we had planned to run IRP, and we just unfortunately never was able to really get a deal together or finalized. And that one sucked because being able to run from my hometown once again. It's the second year in a row. ARCA 2023 or Trucks 2023, we weren't going to be able to do nothing. And Andy called me that Monday morning of the IRP race, which was that Friday. Said, hey, Brayton, I got an empty car. If you think you're going to be available, and throw some tires on it and send it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be available, all right. Like I've had this bad boy crossed off for months, and so that was real cool to go out there. And I mean, it was such a neat atmosphere. I had people sending me videos and photos, and they're doing driver intros, and they're like, Brayton Laster from Greenwood, Indiana, and like Greenwood's a town. So I'm only 30, 40 minutes from IRP, not even probably. But I'm like literally just south of it, the town south of it, and Greenwood's a fairly big town, and some people are like, oh my god, like I had people I went to like high school with, and they're like, I heard Greenwood, and then like it didn't click until like I'm like pizza. Like I know that kid. Like I said, going back to the whole pizza thing, like it was through school, through racing, like it's been a thing for years. I think we're coming up on a decade plus now. I'm to be honest.
That's awesome.
And so like people like I put two and two together, like I didn't even realize it, and like local newspaper did it, like, the story on it. That was cool, and they have like the track. Like pit road reporters doing it, like not the Fox ones, but like over the pits or over the track PA. They came up and like did an interview with me, and they're like, "How cool is this?" I'm like, "Get this over!" Like, I was so hyped. I'm still am hyped thinking about it. Like chills, literal chills, thinking about it. But nah, it'd be really cool if we can go back. We're trying to get something together, maybe go back, but we have some stuff planned for this year too, and ideally, it'd be really, really, really freaking cool to run at IMS. But as of now, we don't have anything lined up for that one.
Okay.
I got to jump on something that, if you don't mind,
go for it. Yeah.
You were saying there, basically like kind of the handshake deal or whatever, just pay for what you wreck on the car.
Mhm.
Like, can that get pretty expensive? Like, do they hold you to that? Like,
So, like I said, thankfully, that's one thing too. Like Andy, trust me. Like I'm not gonna go out here and half track someone. Someone can spin me out 4 times in this type of deal where I pay for what I break. Because there's a lot of deals out there where they're nah, man, you tear it up, they're good, and they basically pay an insurance premium on it. And that's one of the back end deals kind of in racing. And like if you have a full time ride somewhere, you don't really have to worry about that. But we do like a ton of these one offs for different teams, and that's 100% in like the back of my mind is I'm like, if I got here and spin someone out, and either they half track me or I half track them, even I get half tracked and I go like if I'm stopped. And I don't if it's like the pay stops, I do nothing wrong because someone just half tracks me for no reason, and I have the worst wreck in the ARCA Menard series that the past decade and a half, and I'm still responsible for all that damage.
oh man,
And thankfully Andy's a very reasonable person. So if something like that were to happen, he would definitely work with me. I'm not gonna be out here, spending $50,000-$60,000. It probably wouldn't be anywhere near that. But basically, he has, like I said, he's been in the sport for years, and the collection of parts, spare parts, suspension, body panels, everything. Basically everything outside of like drivetrain components, I don't think he would really be too worried about.
yeah.
Or like a chassis, and too, like he got some older school chassis. Like most of the stuff is kind of old school. Like he's got some real good equipment, and then kind of for like the last second stuff, obviously you don't want to wear out your nice equipment. Everyone say hi to Ellie the cat.
I saw that little ball thing move, and I'm like, what is going on?
And
also, you've got a weird hand on. I don't know how you're working that.
Yeah, I got 3 hands right now. It's crazy. So, so typically though, like for like that last second stuff, it's kind of not like he's not going to send the best equipment out there, because a lot of the stuff is like dollars per mile is a good way to think about it. Every so and so mile is having to replace this. Every so and so mile is having to replace this, and obviously the higher tier components that are want to replace more frequently are going to cost you more to replace. So he's going to be using kind of that second, third hand stuff for these last second deals, and that way it's not as expensive. So tearing it up in general wouldn't really be that expensive to begin with. But like I said, literally outside of Talladega 2022, which is a wreck that wasn't even my fault. I mean, and that one for the most part was like just electrical and like cosmetic damage. It was like the battery got damaged, like wiring, and for the most part, like it was all cosmetic. As far as the deal where I pay to have fixed what got torn up. The team then decided to do upgrades. I'm not responsible for the upgrades. I'm responsible just for the damage that actually occurred while racing.
Right.
So that's how. And there's so many different deals. Some teams like they want you to pay so much up front. Some teams they don't mind a handshake deal. Some teams say, hey, only this is covered. On like, hey, we're only worried about body panels and suspension panels and drivetrain. Like anything else, I don't really know what to fall under that. But like, or hey, for these specific parts here, we're not worried about that. They break it, no big deal. Or you only pay after a certain amount and up to a certain amount. That's a common thing too.
Okay.
Kind of going behind the scenes. So typically, you don't really see a lot of short tracks, because it's very hard to total a car out of short track. It's been done before, but typically for like Daytona and Talladega, you will have a maximum crash clause, depending on what your deal is with the team. And typically that can be 15, 20, 25,000.
Oh,
I've
wow.
heard as little as 10 to 15, and I've seen as expensive as 60 or 70,000.
That's like $100,000 for us Canadians.
Pretty much.
Right?
I actually, speaking of totaling a car at a short track, I let Korey try my iRacing this week. He's never really done it, and yeah, he's proven you can total a car at a short track.
Speaking of totaling cars, a Mazda 3 Evan, a Pontiac Sunfire Evan.
We got a great
We've had
Sunfire
our
put
fair
together to go racing. Let me tell you, Sunfires are great for short track racing.
Yeah, we have a
Don't
lot
tell
of
Evan.
four-bangers up here. Actually, four-banger races.
I'm getting ready. We're getting ready to do one here in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Is that one of your figure eights?
No, it's even better. It's what they call a grub getter. It's at my home dirt track, Circle City Raceway. It's a quarter mile, kind of semi-ish bank, kind of wide, and you literally take a car, you roll the windows down, you leave them down. That way, if you get hit, glass can't go flying, and you go racing.
Oh,
Stock
So like
seats,
you can show up with
stock
whatever
belt.
you want.
Like not what minivans that they can't show up with a limo or like a heavy duty truck, but they have
Wow.
minivans, S10s. Some guy had a Camaro. We rolled out with a Sunfire last year, and we set the track on fire. Like we had fast lap by over a second. We led over half the race, and it blew up literally coming across to take the white flag, and we coasted the whole final lap, and still got third by like 0.02 of a second.
Wow.
That's
Like,
incredible.
no, we dominated. Like, we kicked some butt out there. It was, but no, they have like 50, 60 cars show up. You start 3 or 4 wide. It's kind of awesome. But
where
no,
I'm
it's
from, we
literally,
just call that Friday night.
Yeah.
it's literally just roll the windows down. You can put like a steel plate or steel bar on the door if you want. Like safety optional. Like
That seems
not
like an
choke up.
insurance nightmare.
So. Well, you don't really get above doing that fast. You're not supposed to T-bone people, Like,
Oh man. Listen. So I did want to talk about this because I was super impressed last year. After your race at IRP, you actually did 3 more races in a very short time span. With I think they were all with Rise, right?
Yep.
And we actually after the episode, you had put out a promotion saying, for X amount of dollars, you can have your logo on the car and things like that. And you were very gracious and allowed us to participate in that. And we didn't get the graphic to you in time for the IRP race.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't long after, and you had this deal lined up with Rise. And correct me if I'm wrong, but all 3 of your next races were with Rise.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all back-to-back top 10s. And your first top 10s in the series, right? Am I right?
Not only that, but the first top 10s for Rise as a team.
Oh, okay. So,
So it was
wasn't your
it was
personal
a
best.
huge moment. And I'm gonna piggyback here a little bit about the grub getter.
That trend.
The best part about that is you can have a passenger too. I had my
Oh.
girlfriend ride with me, and terrifying. It was great. I had a confetti gun. Like I'm passing people shooting confetti launcher at them. Um, like imagine getting laughed and confetti flies at their windshield. It's great. And
Surprised it wasn't
but
pepperoni.
leading into that, like I said, I have a dirt background, including the grub getters and late models. I've raced their late models since about 2018 or so. And excuse me. And the Rise team, they wanted to run a handful more races last year. Excuse me. I shouldn't really quit drinking that drink that makes me burp, but they were trying to get.
Thunderbird.
It was like 10 to 12 races, I think, total, because they were just trying to get more owners points and behind the scenes and this and that. And um, well, they're very, 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 very low dollar operation. So their car chassis, it's 15, 20. I think it might even be 20. I can't find an exact date on it. If I had to guess, it's about 20, 25 years old. Their
Wow.
chassis is. It's old school. It's very old school, and it's literally Tim Goulet who he has worked in the NASCAR industry for years. Crew chief, pit guy, and technical engineer, this and that. Rita, who has a bit of a road course background, it's her car and her equipment. They own the team, and they're the only full-time, part-time employees. That's it. They don't have anyone else in the garage. Other like they have a couple of guys around their area down there helping out, and they both work third shift jobs. And so whenever they're not working, they work on the race car, and they have like a self storage like 10 by 12 shed is their race shop.
Wow.
Honest to God, like they have one car, couple motors, couple spare parts, and they're just going after them. That's their dream. Their spot is great. This is the greatest story I think I've ever told. So Rita, who drives mainly in the full time E series for them, she's a police officer down there in North Carolina. Um, they had one of her friends, one of her coworkers, come and take photos one time, and he, I believe, was like the evidence photographer at a police station. And so he's like taking photos, and they get there and like they don't have a spotter. So this guy goes from evidence photographer basically to spotter, and he's been their full time spotter ever since. Um, and so he's about the only other person that travels with the team full time. But other than that, like it's literally those three. Like they don't have any crew guys. Tim is a one. Like he'll sit there and change tires and add fuel all by himself. Um, they occasionally have one or
wild.
two extra people, but I'm like they are very low dollar, like small budget team. And like I said, they wanted to get a couple extra races in for owners points last year. And ARCA runs the two dirt races over in Illinois. I don't know why we run two random dirt races in Illinois, but we do. And they're horse tracks. They're at state fairgrounds, so they're flat. They're a mile, and they're I don't want to say boring, but they're boring. And like you gotta think, I'm used to 700-800 horsepower late models weigh 2,000 pounds, big heavy duty grip tire, and you just send it. Now you put me in a 3,300 pound stock car and take away a couple hundred horsepower. I'm just like out here like I'm a grandma in a Buick Century on the freeway going 45, um, and I never, like I said, I did the Knoxville truck race. I'm like, it's fun, it's different, cool experience. Um, Definitely wouldn't mind going and doing some asphalt stuff. And but they reached out, wanted to do the dirt races. I'm like, well, let me see what I can do. And I put together that offer out there, basically. And I had some bigger sponsors lined up, but I always have people ask me like, hey man, I'm gonna be on the car. I don't have $1,000. I'm like, you don't need $1,000. I'm like, I'll put you on the B or C pillar or like along the deck lid or somewhere. I'm like, for $100 you get like a 3x3 sticker on the car, and that's what I said like the average going rate really is of most small time market teams for like a B or C pillar spot is like $100 because no one really puts out there. And so I'm like, my big sponsors, they don't really care. And there's a lot of like local companies and local people like, hey, I'm gonna be there. It'd be so cool to look at my mom's company or my dad's company. My parents, they have an automotive shop out here. They have for 45 years. They go to the races every year. It'd be so cool to have their logo on the car. And so I did that, and I do that for most races I do. Just kind of call it the mom and pop special, and I have people put like I said, their businesses, their parents' businesses, pictures of their cat, pictures of their dog, their favorite meme, pictures of their kids, pictures of people that they don't even know they're gonna be on the car, and they get sent a picture, and they're like, "Hey, you're on the car, man." Like, so I do that from almost every race, and that one was a pretty big one for us, and we were able to go out there though using my background, my dirt background. We had a lot of issues. Um, Talk about like only having one car. So that weekend is what we call Hell Weekend in ARCA, because they ran Watkins Glen Friday and Springfield, Illinois on Sunday.
Oof.
So I spotted at Watkins Glen Friday, drove back to Indiana. The team kind of followed us there. They got back in Saturday afternoon. They used our shop, which is a very small shop. We changed rear ends, trannies, this and that. Um, Same car, same motor, same cockpit, everything, and all we did change was a couple suspension parts, rear end, and the transmission, and we sent it. And we had some overheating issues, and we still got top 10 run. Like I said, it was the team's first ever top 10 run in ARCA, Maine. Um, and then we went to the Coin a couple weeks after that. Same deal, flat mile. And this is a really last second deal overall, kind of, because they went to go load the motor up or load the car up like that Tuesday or Wednesday. And they realized it didn't sound right, and basically they go look, and the motor's trashed, and they find out water loading it up, 3 days before the race, and it's a 14-hour drive or something. So they're like, uh-oh. And so they go and they're able to lease a backup from someone that basically had an old SB2 chilling in the corner for the past decade and a half. SB2s are basically what like the Cup Series ran in like the Gen 4 era. That's why a lot of the small time ARCA teams run. Um, and basically they changed plug wires, the oil, and sent it. We missed practice. Like they didn't get to the track till after or the middle of practice. So we missed practice. Went through for qualifying. Qualified, I think, like 12th or 13th. It matched my best qualifying effort. Just out of the gate, no time to prep, no time to really set it up. No, didn't even know the motor was gonna last. Like we could have gone through tech, it could have blown up for all we know. And I think we got 10th there. That was a good one. But I lost power steering on lap 2 of a 100 lap dirt race, and then the gear shifter kept coming out of gear. So I'm having to drive hold the gear shifter in gear and drive one-handed with no power steering. Great.
Good thing you got that third hand.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That third hand really came in clutch there. So that was a fun race. Not. And we barely got top 10 run. Like it was me and Brad Smith were duking it out here for like the whole second half of the race. Like we were like within a second of each other. And then we went to Salem, which is the second to last race of the season, which is Salem, Indiana. This one was real cool because this one's a lot, like I said, kind of the home track hero, home track crowd. This was about as close to IRP kind of for the most part. It's a Salem is a wicked track. It's about half mile, high banked. It's pretty close to Bristol. I think it's like 30ish degrees. A lot of guys use this track to test for Bristol, except they haven't really paved over it in the past like 4 decades. So it's bumpy. It's incredible. It's like North Wilkesboro, like ancient debris type, like I-465, like going over potholes. And then they repaved over some of it, like the straightaways, but the corners are still like awesomely rough. You know what I mean? Miss Shelby, the thing's beeping. Anyway, we're cooking stuff and it's beeping at us. But so we go to Salem, and like I said, best qualifying effort in my career to date, and of the teams by far. Like we qualified 11th, and first had like a half second over second and third. So we were like a half second to 7/10 of being like a top 3, top 5 car. Which like I was saying, like over a second sounds like a lot, and like in racing in general, but like in ARCA for a small team like this, like it was that team's like closest deficit by like miles. So yeah, then we did that, and then we did Daytona this past year. And let me tell you, SVG, Brayton Laster, DNQ Kings. All right, I just didn't have a fat checkbook to make someone withdraw. So, um,
Yeah, so you can
not saying that's what happened with
right
SVG,
naturally.
but
Yeah, I actually Donnie was at Daytona, and I was quite devastated that he wasn't going to get to see you race. I thought that would have been kind of cool. I'm sure.
honestly, the way that race went, I think I came out ahead.
Yeah, that's true.
Because talking about those crash clauses, man, that would have been.
That was a long night. I'll tell you that.
That was a fun one. And then we did Phoenix a couple weeks ago, which that was a super last second. I got a call like Monday night saying, "Hey, can you be in Phoenix Friday night?" I'm like, or Friday morning. I was like, and so I drove. Me and my
Oh
girlfriend
wow.
drove 30 hours to Phoenix like Tuesday night.
Ugh.
Terrible
That's
drive.
wild.
Terrible.
So let me ask you this, because a lot of these are really short notice. So do you have a full-time job outside of
I
racing?
do.
Right? Okay.
Yes, I don't. Hi, Cat. We're gonna go say hi to Ellie here. This is Ellie Smelly.
Like he's smelly.
He's a little smelly sometimes. He likes biting stuff.
He likes what?
Sounds like
Sorry?
Evan.
He likes biting stuff.
Yeah.
Bye, Ellie.
I do too. You're right.
So that I do. I work at a junkyard, and they're all racers and everything there. So they totally get, and they like seeing the dream. Being
Right.
so close to the dream. They totally they get it. They completely understand, and
they're living vicariously through you.
Basically, yeah. So they love seeing out here and having success, and someone they know going out here and competing like on national television on a national level, and it's so cool. Excuse me. And so no, they're 100% supportive of it, and they help me out any chance they can. So
That's awesome.
on top of racing, have a full-time job, and also trying to get my degree in something. I'm still working on that part, but
You're getting there. Eh?
it's been a slow process. It's racing degree, racing degree, racing degree.
Right.
It's kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
But you're obviously gaining some notoriety too, because I noticed you have like a pizza named after you now.
Yes, that was incredible. I didn't know that was happening. So that's one. This is a really cool story. I've told a lot of stories. Do we have a time limit? Can we just go forever?
No, we're good.
I ain't gotta be at work till 9 in the morning, so I'm good. So, so I play a lot of video games when I get home from work. Typically, I do iRacing, and Helldivers right now and Rocket League and this and that. But I do a lot of Minecraft. Love Minecraft.
Same
And
here.
I've been playing on this one server for like 7-8 years now, and it's a very niche community. Like 30, 40 players probably, like if that really. And so like everyone knows everyone. There was this one guy that joined like a year or so ago, and we got talking, and he's like, "Yeah, my family owns a pizza shop in Damascus, Ohio." I'm like, "I'm in Indiana. Here's Ohio, Indiana, Ohio, Indiana." And I'm like, I find it's crazy. And like, a lot of people know that I race. A lot of people, these people have like seen and they come and watch me race that I met on a Minecraft server. Hi, Ellie. And so they've come and support me. And people have like come like halfway across the world to come watch me race from this Minecraft server, and that's like super cool. But
That's cool.
he's eating my microphone stand over here. He's just chilling. Hi. What are you doing? Anyways, so I'm like, hey, you're gonna find this crazy. Like, I drive NASCAR. Like, they call me the pizza man, and like people were like, no, that's 100% true. And this guy that kind of lost his mind. It's some younger kid, like 13, 14 years old, and like I said, like his family owned a pizza shop, and he didn't believe it. And he sends an email to like if you go on like my website, like I'm like, hey, contact us here, like BraytonLaster.com. You can email us or whatever. And he fills out like a contact us form, and he's like, "Am I talking to real Brayton?" Like, and he's like, "I'm talking to this guy on Minecraft. Is this you?" I'm like, "It's me, man." Like, he's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And his parents reached out, and they're like, "Hey, so and so explained you're a NASCAR driver. That's so cool." and they actually, the whole family, like the guy's got 2 or 3 brothers and sisters, and like 5 or 6 of them, they all came down to Daytona. They closed down the pizza shop, came down to Daytona and watched us race, and we had them on the car, like a little sticker on the B&C pillar there, and sweetest, awesome family like I've ever met. Like they're so cool, so sincere, so down to earth. And when D&Q'd, they went and bought me a pizza. So I tweeted about them, like D&Q pizza goes crazy. Can you not eat that?
What's funny is I remember seeing your social media posts about the family being there and about the pizza. I didn't put the connection together that is actually the same family that had the pizza named after you.
Yeah, so that they went and made the Brayton Laster blasted pepperoni pizza over there in Dudley G's Pizza World,
In Damascus, you
in
said.
Damascus, Ohio. It's like northeast, I want to say, Ohio. It looks incredible, like incredible, like they kind of asked like what my favorite kind of pizza is, and like I'm a big pepperoni guy. We couldn't tell. Like shirt, backpack, helmet, stapler, like everything.
You're
Squishmallow,
basic, but
everything.
not so basic.
But no, I like a good thick crust, like a lot of sauce. You know, I like a little garlic on it. You know what I'm saying? So, and so no, that was cool. That was really cool. Of all the things I've done or been a part of or had my name on of, that's definitely the coolest, I think.
That's crazy when you think about it. Like, you've raced at Daytona, but pizza named after you, coolest thing you've done.
Like, I don't think Jimmy Johnson has a pizza named after him. I don't think Christopher Bell has a pizza named after him.
To be
Christopher
fair, what are you
Bell
gonna
pepper
call it? The
pizza.
Johnson?
Bell pepper pizza.
Just what are you gonna call it? The Johnson? Only available in a 12-inch?
That's a good one.
Yeah, my wife might
Great.
differ with that, but
No, I didn't say Johnston.
okay.
This is the Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. What's your schedule for the rest of the year? Not because I'm trying to plan a road trip to have pizza with you, although, you know.
No, so tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at about 8:30, and then the day after that. No, so as far as racing goes, we have we're returning with the Rise Motorsports, which is really cool. We're doing the 2 dirt races in July and August, I think, is when they are this year.
Okay.
And then we're doing Kansas, which is gonna be my third or fourth intermediate race now. It depends if you count Iowa as an intermediate.
So that'll be on the same 1.5 miles that the Cup Boys race in the Truck
Yep.
Series.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Same weekend. So we're actually racing on May the 4th. It would be cool if we could do like a Star Wars scheme because May the 4th be with you. I haven't heard back from Disney yet. I don't think I'm going to, but that would be really cool. So we're looking forward to that. The first intermediate I did Charlotte last year. That was a tough one. I spun out in turn 2 like a gazillion times. Great time. I didn't tear anything up though.
As long as you don't tear anything up, it's fine.
No, I was Tokyo drifting over there for fun. And so those are our 3 like planned races. You know, obviously trying to do the handful of races. You know what? Salem and IRP and maybe get back in the Truck Series. That's the goal is at some point this year get back to the Truck Series. Run as much ARCA as we can. Like I said, we got those 3 races planned and shooting for 3 or 4 more. And then 2 kind of like the last second deal as those pop up. Tentatively, I think you can expect to see me in seat. I'm not even gonna give a number because I don't even realistically know, but I'd like to at least run quite a few races this year. And I'll be posting those on my social media, my website, BraytonLaster.com. I have a schedule there, including Grub Getters, where we are tentatively trying to compete at, and then we're running some late model stuff this year too, so that's pretty fun. Kind of getting back to go back to like the local route because last year we didn't really do a whole lot of local racing or regional stuff. We did mainly ARCA for the most part. So being able to kind of take a step back and do that, expanding too, kind of as far as that goes, and like our whole asphalt lane model program, and so we're looking forward to that. Yeah, that's we're just kind of playing it by year.
Yeah,
That's a good way to put it.
but taking every opportunity that comes, eh?
Exactly. Speaking of taking every opportunity, BraytonLaster.com is a fantastic website because you can buy Brayton Laster merchandise, such as
That shirt.
hoodies, t-shirts, You want a Brayton Laster hand towel? You can buy a Brayton Laster hand towel. You want shower curtains? I sell shower curtains. You want I have a whole bathroom set, like bath rug, towel, curtains, slippers, like everything. And then also we have like mini replica helmets, like mini pepperoni helmets.
Actually, I saw the replica helmet and I was like, that would be kind of cool.
I don't sell it, but if you want a pepperoni pizza stapler, hit me up.
Well, actually, so this is actually a great segue because the last few weeks we've been announcing it and pushing it. We actually have a contest on our website, beforethegreen.com, where you can enter to win for free, no charge. You can enter to win merchandise from your favorite driver. And quite frankly, for anyone listening, if you haven't entered that contest yet, and maybe you don't have a favorite driver, Brayton Laster would be a great opportunity. Obviously,
I'll autograph it for you. How about that?
Hey, there we go. Spend time with us every week. He does, or sorry, not every week. Sorry, but he's taking time out of his schedule to spend time with us and support us. And so, if you don't have a favorite driver, or if you're not sure who your favorite driver is, or maybe you have a favorite driver but you don't really care about merch and you just want to support a guy who's looking for opportunities, then maybe in your favorite driver section put Brayton Laster's name, and if you get drawn, we'll spend $200 on Brayton's website and get it sent to you.
That's 200 Canadian, by the way. Make sure.
No, it's 200 US.
It says CAD right here. I'm looking.
I know. I got to change it, but I decided. So it's coming out of my. I say we decided. I'm going to be the one paying for this stuff, so it's coming out of my pocket. I decided it's going to be 200 US. So.
And for anyone saying that it's going to take forever to enter, I just entered in the time he was talking about that.
Actually.
That.
And I just got the notification. So
See?
yeah, it's super easy to do, and it's well worth it. And it'd be great to support a guy like Brayton, and we would love to do that. So by all means, don't miss your opportunity to win just because you're not necessarily as invested as some of us in the sport.
So I gotta ask.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fans at home, the viewers at home can see.
Everything.
But I see. So they see what we're seeing right here, right? Like the 5 screens. They see that the 5. Yep. Is there someone that is like hiding behind the before the green?
Oh no. So we used to have, as you remember last year, my sister was also on the podcast.
Okay, no, that's what I thought. Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they broke up, so.
So she had originally come back this year as a producer, but she didn't like the look of the 3 screens when it was just the 3 of us because it was off tiered in the recording, and so she made us put the Before the Green logo. So right now you can see it, but it's not actually recording in this segment, but it will be in the After the Checkers and the Before the Green segment.
So right now they see the 4 of us.
Right. Yeah. And so where you are right now, when we switch back to the other scene, you'll have the Before the Green logo. Yeah.
I'm actually the one behind the Before the Green every time.
Yeah, this whole time.
Every week Brayton is here. He controls the madness. Actually, you probably don't want to take credit for that.
You want a successful career.
Donnie, Korey, one of you guys got anything for Brayton?
No, I think
I guess we could kind of end on this. Who's your current favorite driver, and who was your driver kind of growing up? Like, what got you into this?
So, getting into it, not to make a long story. Basically, like my dad grew up like racing like locally, like street stock stuff and like the figure 8 stuff. And I kind of followed his footsteps. And then he kind of got me into go-karting when I was fairly young. But like my favorite NASCAR driver though was like Jimmy Johnson. Like I loved Jimmy Johnson, like by far. It was like the GOAT, my hero. Like if I saw a car like at my local track and it had a 48, I'm like, Jimmy Johnson's here, guys. like no idea. Like I was like 4 or 5, and like I had like a Lowe's Power Wheels, like a Hot Wheel, not Power Wheel. It's like the 12 volt like the old driver.
Oh yeah.
I had that, and nowadays, let me tell you, I'm a big Christopher Buescher guy. I'm sorry to let into Christopher Bell there, but no, I'm a big Buescher.
Right? I was like,
I'm a big Buescher fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donnie's a big Bell fan.
Just big, no.
and Evan's just big in general. So
Oh man.
Ironically, Donnie and I also like pizza.
No, there's a correlation or something going on here.
All right, man. Well, listen, it's been super fun to have you back. Listen, I have no reason why we don't make this a yearly tradition or maybe even more frequent. I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. We try to give you a little more notice than some of your
No,
some
I
of your
appreciate it.
teams.
Can you guys see that?
See what?
I'm hitting the raise my hand button.
Oh.
Look.
Oh,
Producer can see it. I don't think we can on the screen, but listen, honestly, seriously, thank you so much for
No, thank
taking
you.
time out of it to be with us. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys bringing me on. It was a great time, good time, and I think we 100% should make this a tradition of sorts.
awesome.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
we've got some special episodes coming up later in the year when we get to like the All-Star race and stuff. Maybe we'll find a way to sneak you into a few more episodes here.
That'd be sick. That'd be
All right, man.
awesome. I say, how about this? Big plan, big brain. I was gonna hang up the call and just like leave it at that. But no, 100%. No, if you guys have got anything cool, anything saucy, hit me up. You guys have
Oh, man.
or Evan at least has
Saucy.
my DMs. So thank you guys, and thank you anyone watching at home. So
Awesome.
All right,
Awesome.
man.
See you,
We'll see
man.
you soon.
See you,
Thank
man.
you so much.
All right, so we are headed to the Half Mile of Mayhem, the Paperclip, the Augusta National of Racetracks. We are headed to Martinsville. Half-mile laps on concrete corners, boys. Short track racing, not really much else can be said. You guys excited?
I
For picks, no.
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for
Hopefully
a little more Bristol, a lot less Richmond.
yeah, I hear that.
We went from one of the best
All
short
right.
tracks we ever had to one of the worst.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad for all of us. Let's see here. Let's go over last week's picks. Evan, you
Yeah.
had first pick,
Yeah.
and you thought, well, Donnie knows what he's doing, so maybe I'll take his favorite driver. And Martin Truex got you fourth place. Very respectful. Korey, same thing.
I
Donnie
still don't know
knows
what I'm
he's
doing.
I think I'm going to take Christopher Bell. Got you sixth place. Congratulations. Not bad.
Not bad, not bad.
And I, of course, take Joey Logano because I figure, hey, if I can't have my two favorite guys, I might as well make somebody's lucky day. And that's exactly what I did as Joey finished second. So, once again, I lead the points.
You do. And
It's
you
kind of
lead
getting
off
boring, boys. What's that?
and you lead picks. Like for this
Yeah,
week,
that's-
you get to pick.
Right?
Actually, I'm sorry, I cut you off before you told the scores.
Oh, we don't got to tell those.
Yeah, I actually don't
It's-
have them in front of me. I just know I'm winning, so I don't look behind me.
Well, you got 5, I got 4, and Corey's got 1.
1. 7
Oh,
weeks in a
congratulations,
row.
bud.
What's crazy
7 weeks.
is I was like, oh, great, another year of me not getting any points because Corey started off the season by winning. And that didn't last.
You know what? You know what's great? I can't remember we talked about it online, but we sure did after. But Corey's saying, man, I should have picked Denny Hamlin, but I just couldn't
Right.
pick him against Truex.
Right?
And it's like, buddy, I know you got the smallest gut here, but trust it. You should have went with Denny.
I should have went with him.
I actually think going forward, I'm just going to choose NASCAR as my pick because they choose the winner anyway. So,
Mm.
There you go.
yeah.
I hope they choose Truex next week. All right.
right.
So should we
All
get
right.
into picks?
Let's do it.
So I know I picked third last week and still managed to win. So this week, Christopher Bell.
I don't know how Evan didn't guess that earlier, but he
Right.
didn't.
Gave him a chance to guess. Oh, I think you're going to pick William Byron.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, how could it be any more obvious?
Right?
To be fair, yeah, I probably should have put that together.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, but that was...
So I get second pick here. I'm actually gonna go for a bit of a stretch. The guy's got an average finish of 6th here. in the Xfinity Series. So gonna go out on a limb here and hope that he has a great run this week. Don't want to keep burning up great picks quite this early, so I'm gonna risk it, and I'm gonna take Noah Gragson.
Noah Gragson.
Never heard of her.
You don't know her? It's the Boston accent right there.
Oh,
I know
man.
a guy.
Like, I may as well just sow a dart and hope for the best. Doesn't really matter.
You probably should get me to throw the dart for you, for being
Yeah.
honest. Why don't you go ask Sarah? At this point, you got to do something different.
Sarah last night. We'll come back to Corey's pick because this was just priceless. So the caution comes out for Larson spinning. She gets up, she's got everything packed, and she goes, "Okay, Corey, let's go." Corey goes, "What? No, there's a green white chicken." She goes, "I thought it was done." I mean, to be fair, it's midnight here in Atlantic, Canada,
Yeah,
because
it was pretty
we
late.
started a race at 8:00. That's crazy that we didn't even discuss how absurd that is to start a race at 8:00 or Atlantic time, 7 Eastern on a Sunday night. That's how crazy the race was. But yeah, she was like, "I'm done. I'm ready to go." I thought the race was over.
You wouldn't believe how many people leave races early, though. Like
Oh,
when we were at
yeah.
Daytona, the amount of people that are getting up with like 10 laps to go, it's like, what were you here for? Like,
To be fair, if you were sitting there last night and 10 laps to go, you would have been like, "All right, this is in the bag," right? I'm not saying you get up to leave, but you would feel like it was kind of a foregone conclusion, especially if you're
unless
one
you
of
listen to this show and then you realize Evan picked Truex, then you're like, well, no, there's no way this guy's gonna.
this can't happen. But yeah, it was interesting. All right,
Yep.
Corey, I've robbed your time enough. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine because I'm
What's
still
your
trying
gut
to
say,
figure it out.
buddy?
But I'm gonna go.
All your gut.
I'm gonna go with the guy who got me my first pick. I'm going with Joey Logano.
You know
My
what?
first win.
Okay, yeah,
Sorry,
you
my
can
first
use them,
win.
right?
I can
Now
use
that
him
he's
again.
turned it around, I wouldn't be surprised if he's good at Martinsville. So that's
He
a decent
is.
pick.
I
Poor
gotta
guy
try
just got out of a
something.
slump.
I
and
know,
Corey's
and
gonna
now he's
put him
gonna go right
in it.
back into it.
I don't know, boys.
Sorry,
I thought we
Joey.
had it figured out last week, but
Yeah, we lost it now.
Uh,
All right.
this could be your week, Corey.
Well,
I don't
listen,
know.
I know
You've done your points before.
I know we had a kind of a longer episode with that interview with Brayton, but you guys want to round it out?
Well, you're about as round as you can be, so
Not even
Take it
true.
away, Caillou.
oh man.
Want to take us home, Corey? Let's do it.
Oh, you want me to? Oh, it says right there, Corey, do outro.
Well, I mean, you can't read the segment I write for you every week, so
Oh.
I shouldn't expect you to read that part.
All right, guys, great having everybody watching, listening, all that. What is that?
Are you playing Caillou right now?
He is too. All right, that's it. How can you top that outro?
Fair enough. All right, guys. Have a great week, huh?
Yeah.
See you in Martinsville.
See you, boys.